Hi, this is Steve Dockery and welcome back to the Moot Workshop. When we began this project of the Brunswick Model 15 radio, we remarked that there's actually two parts to this project. There's not just the electronics, the radio part of it, but there's also the cabinet to restore, this time on the Moot Workshop.
Closely with research. This is a...
So this cabinet's in pretty rough shape. We have missing pieces of veneer. We have warped veneer that's coming up off the edges. We have these pieces here that have bits missing and the wood peeling off. The surround for the speaker has some pieces broken out of it, although I have a couple of those pieces. The bit behind it is cracked and the speaker grill is shredded. So there's a lot of work to be done on this. If it were in a little better shape, it might be a good argument to just leave it as is because it is 90 years old. But it's beat up enough that I don't feel bad about trying to refinish it. I may not refinish the back of it though because it has some decals and other things that I would destroy, and I would hate to have to fake them. But I think that we can restore the front of it to look really nice. Okay, now I've got the thing down here on the bench. This is the original antenna wire, as nasty as that looks, which I'm going to keep. I'm not going to be able to use it, but I'm going to keep any components that I remove from the radio. I'm going to put them all in a box and keep it inside the cabinet for historical reasons. Anyway, the first thing we need to do to work on this thing is do some cleaning. So I'm going to clean it out, and then I'm going to see as much of it as I can actually take apart. It's unclear how this is all held together, so it's a little bit of a mystery and a little bit of an investigation. Here we go. All right, now that we have it cleaned out a little bit, we can take a closer look at it. One of the things that was evident from the condition of the chassis from all the rust was that there was some kind of water thing going on. And you can see there's a little bit of a split happening here between these two layers at the top. And inside the top, you've got this layer delaminating from the rest of it. So we'll try to stabilize some of that. It's never going to be like it's brand new again, but we can definitely fix some of this so it doesn't look quite as bad and it doesn't get any worse. Once I took some of the screws out, this crossbar at the top just literally fell out because the warpage of the case had broken the glue joints on both sides. The top is largely held on with screws, but it does have some of these corner blocks glued in around it. And then to get to the screws on the front, I need to pry up parts of this piece of trim. I'll just have to fix that later. Like the top, the front panel is held on with a bunch of screws and also has little wooden blocks glued in. Additionally, to slide the front panel out, I need to remove the speaker grill, which is held on with a bunch of tiny nails. I need to take that out anyway because I'm going to have to repair it. speaker grill wasn't glued in, but because it had been installed before the thing was finished, some of the finish ran in between and stuck it together. So pulling the speaker grill out has actually pulled off some pieces of wood on the back of the front panel. So I'm going to glue all those pieces back in. I also have some delaminated bits along the edges here that need to be glued together. And it's fixing those things is the main reason I took this panel out in the first place. The speaker grill, because of water damage, has come apart into a bunch of tiny pieces. It's literally a 3D jigsaw puzzle. All the layers are delaminating, and I'm gluing all this back together. That's actually going back together pretty well. Once it's all back together, I fill in the gaps with wood putty and give it a good sanding. That doesn't look half bad. I had left this bezel on here because I thought I might not refinish at least part of the thing. But the finish is so fragile that I think I really am going to strip all of the finish off of here. So off this thing comes. Now we need to pull off the loose veneer and those very badly damaged medallions. I'm not too worried that I'm breaking some of this into pieces. I'm going to replace the veneer. These medallions are in terrible shape. I'm either going to have to completely remake them or somehow repair them. There's examples of this delaminating all over the place. Here's some in the upper right rear of the thing. Well, it's the right facing from the back. And that corner also has some bad warping from the water, and I'm going to have to address that. You can see how far off this is, putting the straight edge up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply water to this because the water is going to make it more pliable, but I'm going to also apply heat to the point of actually making steam on the outside edge of it, and hopefully the steam will expand the wood on that side and help bend it back the direction we want it to be. And then we'll clamp it all together and it will hopefully retain its shape after it dries. All that added moisture has really screwed up the finish on the side here, but that's okay. This is all coming off anyway. I'm going to be stripping all of this down to the bare wood. Before I reinstall all the various hardware, I need to get the rust off it. I'm going to drop all this stuff in Evapo-Rust overnight. And now that it's been in the Evapo-Rust, I'm going to put all of it through the wire wheel and get it all nice and shiny. I forgot to shoot video of slipping that front panel back in place, but now I'm putting the little screws back in and gluing the little blocks back on. Now I have to glue that crossbar in the front back in place as well. I'll fix that broken trim later. Because I'm not sure how much tension this thing is going to have on it, I don't know how well it's going to retain its shape. Since the bar across the back broke loose from all that tension before, I'm adding some screws in the back corners just to make sure this stays together. And now we begin the tedious and arduous task of sanding off all the old finish and repairing little dings in the surface. So this seems like an obvious place to break. In our next video, we will resume with the sanding and the more sanding. Next time on the Moot Workshop. Hi, thanks for watching. If you really liked that video, please click the like button. And if you like what we do in general, please subscribe, because that not only lets YouTube know that you like us, but it also lets you know when we have a new video, and we do post a new video every week. And if you really want to encourage this behavior, head on over to our Patreon, because your contributions will help us get exhibits for the museum, but more importantly, it'll help buy us parts and supplies that we need to refurbish and otherwise restore these items so that they work and they're in the best condition they can be. Thanks again.